Yeah, stop for perspective. He froze. Am I back now? Is he back now? Okay, perfect. Okay, so welcome back to today's session. So just going over with what I was talking about earlier. What we're going to do is we're going to talk a bit on gold, and have a look and see how the price has been moving, especially from the initial push that we had from Monday. Well, pretty much like Sunday towards Monday morning. And where the price is right now are still continuous buys. We are outside the trend, and you have to remember when to the market when it does consolidate for such a long time, it does want to have a momentum when it broke out. So obviously we can see that it broke upside. So we have to be a little bit more patient after we had that first impulse movement, which obviously today the market has been just correcting, which is totally normal. So I'm going to show you my screen just for you guys to see how I'm able to like just try and be a little more patient. Now, patient is a game of you know doing it over and over and over again, right? You will never get patience perfectly, especially with the markets, but you have to do your best in order to win and get to the next level. Okay. So let me stop my screen because it might play up, and then I can share my screen. Stop my video, share my screen, and just let me know if you guys can see my screen when it pops up. Can you see my screen, guys? Let me know if you can see my screen. Not yet. No. Okay. Perfect. 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 So just keep me updated if there's any issues with the voice, if there's any issues with the screen. Right. I am looking left to see what you guys are saying in the chat. Okay. Right. So I'm gonna just delete this Fibonacci. I want you guys to see the Fibonacci first before I delete it. Okay. So this Fibonacci is just understand. Let me have this arrow so you guys can follow if it does stop out. Right. So the Fibonacci is from the highest point to the lowest point. As you can see, perfectly highest point to the lowest point. Now, having a look at this is understanding what's actually going on. Okay. This is just, I used Fibonacci not just as a tool for me to get into trade, but as a tool for me to understand why. For example, today Marina did ask in the VIP, was there sudden movement? Was there news? Well, what happened? For us to understand that the market pushed out, because you can see the market had a nice retest here, blew up, blew back down, right? So it was kind of like, what happened here, right? Now, by having your Fibonacci, and this is what I was saying about Fibonacci before, right? Forget that all of these price occurred. Now, I do understand last week, or not last week, but a couple of days ago, I was talking in terms of looking at that sell because it was underneath this level of trend. Like if you look on that line, you'll see that trend was a downtrend, right? We was underneath this trend line, right? So our buys had to be sells until we actually got a breakout here with continuous sells, right? Now once price break above that area here, as you can see, this 4080 85 level, and we change structure here. all of we need to now start looking for buys because this has now changed structure. So I hope everyone's with me right now. So the Fibonacci, what I use is just for me to understand what's actually happening around here. Now, you have to look at the information to get a real idea to why that break below, right? As in like push below. It's because it comes from this evening star here, right? This evening star, we all know evening is a bearish candlestick pattern. Now, just because it's a bearish candlestick pattern doesn't mean that the market is going to go and start pushing down, right? And start changing the direction, right? What it means is that we, in that moment in time in the market, the sellers were in control. Now, it's okay to understand that once the price got to here, right, we are at this level of resistance, as you can see, at that level of resistance. Okay, but we're gonna have some kind of sell-offs, right? Now, the thing is with gold, right, and if I can go to a smaller time frame, I'll delete this. What I normally do is sometimes I have just my Fibonacci on because it's too much cloud, it's too much noise, right? So I've changed a template to give me something like this, so I can delete that. Now that is the area of the resistance, anyways, right? So I'm just gonna move it. I'm just gonna move it for now, right? So that will allow me to understand that I don't have the Fibonacci on, but I know the 61 is there. And it's so easy to do this, right? You draw a line, right? You draw like a straight line, right? And then what you do is you right click it and then you apply save as, right? And you will save as, let's just say 61.8, 78, whatever you want it to save as, right? And that will allow you to land, and you can write in on top of it as well, right? So add a text and write what it is, and then you'll be able to understand. So I've got that for 78, I've got that for 61, just the two of them, I think, that I've got. I don't think I've got one for 50, 78, and 61. As you can see, these are the only Fibonacci levels that I like to take trades from, or to see where that price is going to. Okay, so going back, right? So we can see that that price has gave us that evening star here, right? Now we have to potentially go smaller time frames, like 1 hour, just to see what's going on here, right? So we had that double top here, and that price actually pushed below, which is good, right? On a different day, this market would have done that, came down, and had to push up, and we was able to get into a trade based on the breakout of that area there, right? Based on the breakout of that area, which is potentially a good sell, right? And that price decided to break back below. I'm going to go back to small time frames just to make it a little bit more clear. Price decided to break back below and decided to come and retest these levels again. This is normal things that you cannot be mad about this, right? You can't be mad about this because this is the system. This is how we move, right? And if you guys can see it as well, we've got a nice head here. Why is it sticking to that? Sorry. I might use a different, and I'll make this bigger so we guys, us lot can see. Right, so we've got this level here, we've got a nice head, a nice shoulder, and we've got this right shoulder here, right, which it came down, and that allowed us to understand, okay, cool, this price potentially will continue to move up. Now, if you look at so many different ideas and so many, when we look back at, back testing and so on and so forth, you'll see that a lot of the times that's what happens, right? That's what actually happens. We have that head, shoulder, it's faked out, and then we can continue our buys to the upside. But Why did the market did not push to the upside? It didn't push to the upside because we've got that strong level of resistance, right, on that 61.8, and it's just doing a lot more than what it needs to do, right? Now, the one thing that you also have to understand when we talk about reverse engineering, right, is this is something where you can also understand if you get into a trade and it doesn't play out, you can look back and be like, okay, cool, what actually happened before? So this is our information to understand. Now, what I see is clear impulse movement, right? A clear impulse movement, and all this is doing is just correcting, just chilling out, right? Yes, of course, we can even have a further drop down if this market is quite well, right? But all it is just correcting and chilling out where the price is right now. Now, another thing what I wanted to add was mirror, right? I like to look at previous side of it of things. So we can see that this market, when it was pushing up around this side, we had a lot of consolidation, right? We had impulse and then correction, right? And if you look at it from a reverse standpoint, it's come down and then consolidation, right? If you look at it from a reverse standpoint, from this side, it's pushed up and now to in that, right? So I always look left. Like if I was to put a mirror here, right? Obviously, I want to see what's occurred here to occur here, right? Now, yes, I know it does push up just straight up, but we are not getting that straight up. So we have to see what is the information that we've got on the left-hand side that can give us the information on the right-hand side, okay? I hope that's making sense to you guys. So don't just think that, oh my God, I've got into this setup and it's messing up and, it's really stressing me out. No, don't be stressed out, right? You're following the system. And the longer you follow your system, the more consistency that you're going to have in your trading, right? The more you're going to keep growing in your trading, okay? So, you have to keep following the rules. Now, the one thing that I would just say is that we had impulse movement. This is that correction. On a different pair, this would be gone, right? On a different pair, once we've had that retest here on these lows here, right? This would have been gone once it's pushed back above here, right? Because then we would have that breakout that we look for, right? And then it would be gone, right? But it's gold. You have to be a little bit reserved with it, and you have to understand that the market is not going to be your best friend, right? But at the moment in time, there's no point really drawing too much on there, right? Like how I've just drawn it like that, because really we can see that is a descending that's broken above, and my thinking of this is that we should be getting bullish pressure to potentially go up. 61.8% is a strong resistance, right? You use these Fibonacci as levels to give you information, right? So once this has occurred now, right, we can understand this was a fake out and it pushed back below. We've got another push up here, right? This is potentially a morning star, and that price has come back to retrace it there, right? So we can be a little bit more still, because it's still in that consolidation area, to be a little bit more reserved, right? But I would want to see more changes structures that occur to push above this level here, right? But be reserved, because there is a 61% there that will make things a lot harder. So what you can all do, which is tools that I'm giving you to understand these situations, right? I would just have that as consolidation, like so, right? And I'll just be smart to see how that price does react from there. We can see that there's been a little change here. that doesn't do too much because this was the highest point, right? There is a little change here, and the price gone like this, like that. So, I just want to see reactions from these levels to obviously do gives that push, and then I'll probably try and get into a trade at the breakout if that does occur, right? At the moment, I'm not in any of these trades. I'm just in trades for long term. Okay? So that's kind of what you got to wait and see from that consolidation area. So there's no real stress about stressing what's going on, so on and so forth. It's just making sure that you you're keeping up to date with what's going on. You're making sure that your chart is as clean as possible, right? So you could understand what's actually happening. Now, of course, we could have took buys from these areas here, but I never want to take just a quick impulse buy, right? I like to always see the market to give me some level of momentum in order for me to into that trade. So not as much as I can get into a trade here, right? But also I want to see more breakouts like this, which then will allow me to understand, okay, we've got more bullish pressure for it to start rising above, right? The only thing is like you gotta roll the punches. Yes, we do have a cop, and markets obviously came back to retrace and is doing this, and so on and so forth. So it's just a patient game, and you need to be active on your charts. You can't just be like, you need to watch it every couple of hours and see how the 1 hour is finishing, how the 2 hours is finishing, how the 4 hour finishing, so on and so forth. That will allow you to give you a lot more. Now, remember also, it's not just that we are just at that level of 61, or we are like resistance and so on and so forth. Understand that this trend line here, right? This trend line here, I know about this higher trend line. That's for like the bigger movement that will occur. But this trend line here is super important to understand. Now, if like I said to you guys before, we want to put this as a parallel, right? A parallel trend. With that parallel trend, it will make us understand. If you guys don't understand, like just trading with one line, right, and understand like the areas, you could draw the parallel, because that parallel will give you a lot more understanding, so that you can see that that area there has been hit. Right now, I'm just going to move this parallel, or this parallel to these levels here, right, and just take that one there, so that you can understand a little bit further. Oh, did the wrong one. Right, and you can see, if we just zoom into this section here, right, we can see that there's a reason why these cells came in hard, right? We've got this 1, 2, 3 touch, 4 touch, and then that took out these early sellers here. So that little bleed came down, right? So that was the initial movement that pushed this movement down. Now remember, this is not happening. This 1, 2, 3 is not happening on a smaller time frame. This is happening on a pretty big time frame. Okay, so does that indicate to us that the cells might be starting to come? Who knows? We'll see if this price starts to change structure and then starts to play underneath here again. Okay, well, it's having information in your arsenal for you to understand these things, and we know what we want to see when the market does a 1, 2, 3. We want to see some type of reactions that's occurring on that area, right? So this is the reason why I say about being so reserved, because there's a lot on sales and a lot on buys, right this moment in time. So it's not necessarily about trying to catch amazing trades. It's more about just being super, super patient, especially when it's coming to the end of the month, right? And if we just go to the end of the month, or go to the monthly candle, sorry. Monthly candle gives us this. Let's go back. Monthly candles gives us this, right? I don't know why it keeps doing that. Right, candle gives this, right? We've had a nice basically Marubozu. We've had a big ass impulse movement from that Marubozu, and then we had sellers really bring this all the way down here, right? So this situation that's occurring right now, right, for this month, how is it going to end, right? Is this market going to push all the way to here? I don't really know. We have to wait and see how the small time frames move. Okay, but if this candle didn't have like a little bit of a wick down, right, and started from here and then just pushed up crazy, and then the bodies of the candle ended more towards like here, I would be looking at this as like, okay, cool, I potentially want to keep going straight for buys, right? So 4 hour time frame, we've already got that Fibonacci that we are on 61.8. Now, yes, we've got this double bottom here, right? The market has come back down to retest like that level. We've got this cup, and then it's trying to build that handle. But what do I like to see? I like to see if that market is gonna decide to break down, right? We might have to delete a lot of these things. So I'm just gonna delete things now. I'm gonna delete that. Right, that is a level here that we basically need that level there. That's important for us. Right, and we've got this consolidation area to give us a little bit more information. Now, anything underneath this blue zone and the market does break, so like goes like this, and we know we've got these little pushes, but if it does break underneath here, that will break that market structure. I will see buy sells below this consolidation area, sells all the way down here, right? All the way back down to there, right? And then that would be basically what the market will do if the market does decide to break underneath here, right? So we already know what we are looking for breaks to go to the downside underneath this level, right? And also we know what we are looking for if we want to take buys, right? We need to get more, so we need to probably go to a smaller time frame just to see, because it's still like a 1, 2, 3, 5 minute, right? We've done that 1, 2, 3. There's a little break above here. There's a little break above here. So we got 1, 2, 3. Let's see if Fibonacci, what that Fibonacci does from here to there. Right, and that is at 61.8. Now, same again. I don't rush into trades just because the market's got to there. I would wait to see how this market reacts, because it could still push up to 78.6, right? And even psychological level, mid zone 4125, it could still do that before we actually do get a push. But I'm not looking for buys or sells right now. I'll wait for the information that the market is giving me. Okay. Now, of course, like I said to you guys before, you need to have a mindset of like trying to understand what the market is doing as soon as possible. Okay. So whatever it's doing here, you need to try and understand it as soon as possible, because that will allow you to actually make money faster, right? And when I say faster, it's like you already know what's going on. So the first thing is understanding that we've got that impulse movement. Okay, that impulse movement, once the price actually is getting all the way up here, right? This is how you can get into them nice early sells, right? Just like scalping, so on and so forth. I'm analyzing that situation, that move alone, right? So once the market gets to right to up here, now remember what I said. There's no point you trying to take buys, right? If the market has pushed up like so, right? If the market has done all of this, right? What is the point taking a buy up here? We say buy low, sell high, right? So up here, right? If you know, okay, I've missed the trade, I've missed this up, it's okay. Just wait for what the market will allow you or give you, right? And in this instance, we've got this 1, 2, 3 at the top. We've got this 1, 2, 3 at the top here, right? And we can see when it gets to there, it pushes down. When it gets to there, it pushes down. So here you can wait for just that breakout. Right? So when breakout here, you got a bearish engulf in there, you got a double top, and then the price really just shoots all the way down to that level of support. Right? So this is a nice early trade that you can catch, which pretty much is how many pips, like 300 pips. Right? Just based on that situation that's occurring there. That 1, 2, 3 and a breakout there. So you could already get into themselves. Now, getting into that cell don't mean you're getting into that cell to go to hell. No. You're going from that area, that's the first take profit you're gonna catch, that's the second profit you're gonna catch. Okay. And then you're out, right? And then once you understand how the market is actually moving based on this impulse movement, because we already know every time we get impulse movement, we get some level of correction, right? We've got this impulse movement. All of this is correction, right? Even though it's going towards the downside with this descending, it's a correction, right? Which you'll be able to, and then what you're waiting for is the next impulse movement, right? Which could be like a breakout, like so, right? A breakout like so here, right? And then trades towards side property. So the thing is with gold, right? Even when you're scalping, you can make a lot of money, right? Because once you just wait for them breakouts, it will allow you to just, be in that trade and the price will drop. Especially if it goes, when it drops fast, right? When we are moving up, it goes pretty slow. It takes time, right? Now, not when the market has changed. Right? And I want you guys to start identifying patterns, right? Because that will allow you to actually make good decisions and take good trades, right? So let's just look at this area. Look at that area there, right? Same thing happened again. We've got a nice impulse movement, right? It gets to a level of support, resistance. We have a double top. What happened? The price broke out to where the price pushed up from, right? I'm not going all the way down here. I'm going from where that price has made that initial move, right? Now, you will start to see this very clearly when you are doing things on your chart. So let me just try and zoom in a little bit. Try and zoom in a little bit so you guys can see. It's always good to be patient. If you've missed out on a really good buy, it's always good to be patient and wait for the market to actually give you something you understand. The sound is cracking up again. Let me see if I can connect to my phone. That might be a little bit better. Let me connect to my phone. Apologies for this. Honestly, I've cleaned up the laptop. It might be just the Wi-Fi that's playing up. Wi-Fi, personal hotspot. Right, it might just freeze me out for a little. The other one.
It says that I'm the host now. Should I teach?
Yes, you should start.
I'm watching for gold and if it's gonna reverse because the fucker took me out on the break even and it's really annoying me today. So strange.
I also think it might take a rejection from this level, or maybe a little lower.
Yeah, I'm hoping that's it. Usually there's some fresh volume around this time, maybe in 15 minutes when Asia
I'm
starts
expecting it to
opening
go
up.
60 pips down at least, and then it should give a pullback.
Yeah, I
Oh,
don't like that it broke. Hello. Oh,
am
hello.
I back now?
Yeah, I think you are.
I am not gonna connect my phone because it's literally it does not work. Um, it's I don't understand why connection is moving like this because I got like the best connection. Oh no no.
Um,
Let me share my screen again. Apologies for this, guys. Just update me if you can hear me, and then you can see my screen when it pops up.
We can hear, but it's still a little bit cracking.
Still cracking, yeah?
A bit, yeah. Sometimes it's better,
I
sometimes
don't.
it's worse.
Let me see what I can do. Um, I'm gonna set up my Mac for tomorrow and see if that works any better. But I don't understand why it does this. The devil's against the
yeah, try with Mac because I've noticed that MacBooks has a stronger receiver for the Wi-Fi. I don't know why, but I've noticed that so many times already.
Okay, but you know when it's cracking, can you still hear me?
Yeah, yeah, but it's just breaking up a bit. But we can hear you, but it's just harder to follow, because it's just
Yeah, no, I understand. I understand. Okay. The thing is like I don't want to restart my connection because it's gonna freeze us out for probably like 2 to 3 minutes. Shall I give it a try?
no, I think we're good now. Let's continue and see where we go.
Okay, cool. Can you guys see the screen?
Yep.
Okay, cool. Right. So as I was saying, we have to really be good at analyzing the market after a push. Okay. So there's so many different types of elements that you can obviously when we are on smaller time frames it's also the same thing. Right now I'm just going to draw two things. Now it's the same exact thing but on different time frames, right? So we can see this whole push here, this whole push here, and then we see an area where it says no, 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 no. Okay. Now, if we go smaller time frame, I'm not gonna go to smaller time frame, but it's the same thing. We've got impulse movement here. The market says no, no, no. Okay, but that area there is an area of support, and that area is an area of resistance. So I want you guys to know every single time we get like a nice impulse, and if it's happening very fast from a small time frame, so we can see from down here it's already gone up. You can still be getting into these setups here, right? Especially for scalping or continuation, you can still be getting into these setups here, right? The one thing that you have to understand is like, yes, it's happening on smaller time frames here and here, right? But you have to wait for it to happen on a bigger time frame where you can actually not necessarily a bigger time frame, but just a bigger all-round move. I hope that is making sense what I'm saying. So on a smaller time frame, it will happen pretty fast, right? It will occur pretty fast, boom, 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 and then we'll have that break, right? Now, because we're on smaller time frames, there's going to be strong pullbacks too. But if you have that area of support, right, even when you get that pullback, right, and you don't even have to take a trade at this point. You can just have these things marked up, right? And then you can just wait for the market to break back outside of that area of resistance, and for you to have that continuation. But understand that there's going to be a lot more of candle work that occurs on the bigger time frame, right? Where you can then really see what's actually occurring. There's no point taking a setup if you don't understand what's actually going on, right? Here, you know, okay, it bounced off here, bounced off here, bounced off here. You know now that is your level. Now, in order for you to identify your level of support, for me, what I like to do is I like to look at where the market stopped at, broke below, and broke outside of it. That's where that area is where I will put my support and resistance potentially to understand what's actually happening. Right now, this is a big area of support, and I'm going to bring it back down. But as you can see, that really works very well with actually what's going on after the fact of the market pushing up. Okay, so from that situation there, I can then identify and see how I can get into certain trades. So, you know, people think it's all about just taking a trade. No, a lot of the times it's really about watching, right? Watching. Boom, I understand that. I get that, right? And then you can actually take that trade with full conviction that, okay, I'm happy to take that trade. Okay. So within this situation here, right? As I mentioned before, if you are in a good setup, that market will continue to give you what it is that you want, which is results. Okay. So within this situation here, yes, we can see the market comes down here to retest first time, right? Pushes back to that level of resistance, comes back down, creates that double bottom. Right now, for me, what I like to see, especially when the market comes back down, not stupid. Like we can see that this market is done this, right? You can see like, oh, that could potentially be a double bottom, especially when it's not breaking underneath this area, right? We had a strong push from there, and we can see that the market is in a situation. So once the market comes back down towards the area of a double bottom, and this occurs in loads of different time frames, many time frames. So if we are pushing up like this, and we can see the small time frame, you probably see a double bottom that happens here in like a 1 minute, right? Even here, you'll probably see some happens here. Right? So on a bigger time frame, that allows you to understand, okay, cool, because we are on a fade just to see more results and just to see more candlestick work. But this actually, on a 1 hour, 2 hour, you will see very cleanly the market just went boom, boom, boom. Okay, a nice clean double bottom. Now, for me, I want to see something clear as this, and then it's like, okay, well, what's happening on the second right hand side of that double bottom, right? High, low, boom. We can see that's how the market is moving, and then before you know it, it's broken outside. So once the market is ready, after it's done its thing, right, then we can start looking at these movements, right? Now, there's another thing that also you have to understand: continuation of moves, continuation of, you know, if the market is broke below, the continuation of that, or the continuation of the market actually pushing up, right? And the same thing that I was just saying on the right hand side in how you could take sell when the market gets to a certain position is by still being patient, right? You understand that this market is doing this, right? It's finally broke above, it's found a level of resistance, clone this, and it's found a level of support here, right? And once the market is pushed above, I'm always having this on my chart because I know that that market has pushed so far up that there's a retracement that's going to occur. Now, you know, the reason why a lot of people find it hard to trade or find it hard for them to find and like a trade, or like, you know, they have so much information. What kind of trader do I want to take, and so on and so forth. for me, it's like I like to react off the market, right? So everything that I'm showing you, you need to pick something that you like. You need to pick something that you like. Okay, I understand this, like with my eyes closed, and then you need to double down on that, right? Whether you're going to be, and this comes down to your hard work, right? If you're going to be good at 2, 3, 4 different things, right, you need to have one that that is something that I'm actually really good at doing, right? And from that, that's what you're gonna continue to grow in, and that's where you're making money, right? Because you're really good at one specific thing that's giving you money. Now, if you're out here looking at left, right, center, and you're trying to be good at everything, right, you're gonna probably miss certain things that you're actually really good at that you should focus on. I hope that is making sense, right? So I remember when I was scalping, in the days of scalping, I would catch these breakouts like there's no tomorrow, right? If I understand that market is finally broken a certain level, right? So let's see this area here, right? We're just going to go left because remember, it's about looking at what's happening previously, okay? This whole area here is a funk, right? This whole area here is a funk, right? Well, even if you have a consolidation box here, even if you don't, right? There's no that it doesn't take a genius and that area was not breaking, right? So once that market actually breaks, and it actually breaks, right? For me, and it breaks this highest point. For me, all I'm looking for, especially if I'm going to be scalping or I'm going to be looking at the next area to where the market is going to go, right? We can see that there's a highest point where the market actually flew down. So once the market actually breaks out of that situation there, right, I know it's trying to reach this point here, right? And we've got that area, these areas there that the market is going to go and tap and potentially have a little bit of, a retracement or whatever. But I know the market now is continuous towards the highest point, right? So what am I going to be doing? I'm going to be locking in into this move that's occurring, and I'm going to really hit in that move and make as much money as possible, right? Now, with disclaimer, you get me? Like, I'm not going to tell you go crazy, right? But this is where I normally flip accounts and stuff. Like, yes, I would understand this move and probably catch a little bit earlier, head, shoulder, out, bump, ascending here. Like, I will already be seeing the patterns that's occurring from a smaller time frame, or the move that the market is looking to do, right? I'll already be seeing that. Once the market is broken out, right, I will be scaling into a smaller time frame, and these places where I'll be getting in, right? We're getting into here, right? And in here, there's so many trades that you can take, right? So let's just go back down to smaller time frames, and I'll just show you. Because a lot of people think that, okay, cool, you need to catch a trade at that point. No, right? You need to catch the trade when the train is moving or is about to move, right? And it's very early in the situation, right? So again, what were we talking about? We were talking about waiting for the highest point to get touched, for that rejections to occur, right? And we got that nice rejection. We've got these lows here, right? There's nothing on the left hand side for us to really understand. So we've got those here. Now we can look left to understand or see if there's anything there, right? That's something there, but I won't really go for it too much. I'll go off what the market is actually giving, right? So we've got this breakout. That's an initial movement that we've got. And look, it's just gone boom, 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 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, and then you got to an area, right? So I'm like, okay, cool. I can't expect that market to keep going up and up and up, and it needs to have a level of retracement. We can see here the market's found its point, right? And then it found another point there, and then that's the area of breakout, right? So what am I doing? Straight at that point, especially after I'm so early from the breakout. Now I know it doesn't look early, but it's very early for breakout, right? What 200 pips is very early from the breakout. So once the price gives me this, I'm getting in on here, right? I'm getting in on like around these levels. That's occurring there, right? You might even wait this extra breakout that's occurring there. So I'm just really going to the finer details so that you guys can see how you can win more on your winning trades, right? Because a lot of you guys are winning normal, right? But on your winning trades, you're not absolutely not going crazy, but you know, it's like this, right? It's like if I ask someone a question right now, right, and I want you guys to speak up, please. If I ask you, if you had a peek at the lottery numbers for the following week, right, and you had a very good peak and like, you know, good 10, 15 seconds, right, what are you going to do the following week, right? This is a question to everyone. Last week, you saw the lottery numbers for next week, right? You saw the lottery numbers, and all you needed was like 4 numbers for you to go crazy next week. What are you doing, right? Full margin. He said full margin. Okay. Now I'm not saying go full margin on this, but you can potentially add a little bit to your sweet spot, right? You know, like you get into a trade pretty early here, right? You probably into a trade nice and early here from this double bottom, this breakout here, right? And this goes even when I'm up here. This even goes from me talking about here. This is a breakout here. It's broken outside here. Right? We've got a break retest, boom, breakout again, boom. So like even if you go into a trade here, why are you scared to get into a trade on the breakout, right? When you know what the market has been doing from the left-hand side. And then here it's like, okay, cool. I'm in trades. I don't need to really like go crazy or add another trade too fast, too soon. So you can be more patient and be like, okay, cool. I'm going to wait to understand what the market is doing, right? I need to see and understand what the market is doing. So the same thing I'm saying about the lottery numbers, right? You've seen it. Right, so when it comes to next week, you're like, oh, I seen numbers. I remembered at least 4 or 5 numbers, which I'm going to put down on this piece of paper and I'm going to get a bag from it, right? So it's the same when looking at these charts, right? If that market is already pushed above and pushed up and broke outside all the levels of support or resistance or whatever, then you know, like that's your lottery ticket. That's your lottery numbers, right? So market actually just comes back and retraces like this, you've got your points ready. Once it gets to the top, you're like, okay, boom, you've got your point there. When it gets to the bottom, boom, you get your point there, right? That's it. Then now it's like watching your charts and seeing how that market moves. Now, if I do it like this, you're like, oh, okay, it's created a double bottom, right? You might have not got it from the double bottom and a break and retest. You're like, okay, cool. What's occurring here? You've got this break ascending. Oh, okay, cool. Right. You've got high, low, right? You've got a 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3 here. You can draw a Fibonacci from there, right? And then it's like here is now here is even beautiful because now you're like, okay, cool. We've broken the last high, right? It's gonna create high and low. You continue your Fibonacci, and this is 5 minutes. Like continue Fibonacci, boom. That's not bad. That's all right there. You know, you wait for the full-on breakout. Boom. Nice bullish engulfing. And then that candle there is that's a nice candle, right? With full body at the bottom, a little bit of upside wick, right? Market giving you a shooting star. Doji outside of that trend. Cool, perfect, right? This is another setup there, right? What are you waiting for again? This little breakout here. Right, breaking out, you know, because this is the last high, we're looking to create a new high, right? Before you know it, you're in like a little bit more trades with conviction. These are your numbers, right? These are numbers because what we have here from the journey, we've got that bullish breakout, right? So this is where I've actually been able to accumulate a lot more on my trades, because I'm not scared when people are in trades. Like, I'll be real. This used to happen to me, it doesn't happen anymore, right? When the trade is going my way, people want to close their trades out. People really want to be like, money, 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 close, close, close. It's like you're in a winning trade, right? Why are you closing, right? It's the same thing I was saying the other day. When you are in L's, right, you're taking a loss. You're holding it till the market breaks your trading, your balance, right? The balance blows you out. You're holding all there. Why can't you hold till hold as the market is pushing up? So this is the same thing that I was able to catch a trade from all the way down here that we spoke about 2.8 something, right? This is probably a better chart because I've got the drawing here. This is how I was able to catch these trades from these lows here, because I'm looking at the journey, right? And I'm like, okay, cool, journey here, number one, right? Retest, right? As we break out of there, yes, we need to get a push up and down to change that structure. Cool, we're good. Now I know we did this, it needs to do this, right? Now I know it doesn't need to do that, but we've got a confirmation here that the market came down, broke above, right? And then we've got the inverse head and shoulders, so on and so forth. So I'm continuing my journey, if that makes sense. Okay. So because I know the market, I'm trusting that the market is going to give this whole move from the left hand side to the right hand side. Why would I not? Why would I not? I know my numbers. I basically know my numbers, right? So why would I not be more patient here and understand my numbers? Okay. Now, I'm not saying go crazy there, but that's the highest point, that's the lowest point there. Yes, we get down, that comes down here, that's normal, that's gold. But you have the potential to keep catching moves as it's pushing up towards the higher highs, right? Once the market gets to this level, what do I know? We want to see a cup and handle, break and retest, and continue. So from that first initial journey, I know how I'm looking at the market from these areas here to get in to continue my setup. Now, I got in pretty much down here, right? Got in down here. I trusted my system. I trusted my 1, 2, 3, right? And then when it got really down to the bottom here, I was 5 minutes into that, and I saw that the market did. Was it descending? Yes, it did a descending hit. Then it broke out. Then as it's breaking out that area there, I'm in. I got in, added a few more because I know now we've got that out. It needs to get to the top here. At the top, I had more conviction because we've had an impulse correction. So I'm like, okay, cool. With that area there, me getting in, I'm a bit more patient. We'll wait for the breakout, right? Breakout happened. I don't know if I had in more trades. I'm not too sure. But I think I had in more trades as it came back down. On this breakout here, we actually took a trade here, which was news, and news went boom, blew it up. Perfect. I'm already in more trades because now we're outside of that trend that's been respecting pretty well. And we've got this, impulse correction, which is the same as the impulse correction here. I'm good. Like, once the market's gone, now I can analyze this area and be very, very, very patient because I'm like, okay, I've got good setups here. We're really far up, right? I know the possibilities of the market coming to retest off this inverse head and shoulder. Cool. It does that, blows up, right? I'm analyzing these areas now to see how the market moves from these areas, right? To get to this area here, right? As it's breaking out, I wait for this push out. Boom, it's gone. Here, I'm analyzing there. Boom, as it's breaking out, I'm gone. And look at this. Even the market here gives you a shooting star on a 4 hour shooting star. Boom to there, right? You think I'm scared to get into that trade there? No, because we've had a full momentum of a shooting star, right? I'm getting in again here, right? Yes, I might need to be on a smaller time frame to see what's actually going on here. I told you, I've got my numbers, right? I've got my numbers. Like, you know, what happens is when you guys are winning, you win so small to the point where, like, when you lose a few, you're like crying, right? Whereas when I win, right, I win. I'm not out here, you know, like the same way the market don't care about you, the same way I don't care about the markets when I'm in the winning trade, right? I've got full conviction of what I'm looking at, right? I've got full conviction on, got full trust and conviction on that trade that I'm taking, okay? To a point where we finally break out to this level. I'm like, oh my God, sweet as, right? Cup and handle, broken outside of that trend. We've got this area here, which I will want to let the market go and tap. Oh, we were broken outside of that. But I'm literally like, oh, bro, this is about to go crazy after so long of consolidation, right? So long of consolidation. Trusting the system. We've got out here. We've broken outside of it. I'm like, yo, this is sweet as day. The next situation is this. Boom. That top of that trend there. Boom. The market blew that without any, like, it just blew, right? We had a little bit of retest and it blew out of it. I'm like, okay, this is about to go crazy. I got to a trade down here. So with understanding the numbers that I was telling you about the lottery numbers, it's like you trusting your system and being like, okay, it's now doing this, it's doing that, right? Every time it's a journey. I didn't just get into that trade and sit down and be like, oh yeah, it's just printing money. No, I was still on the charts. I was still making sure that the market's doing the right things, doing this and having patience and understanding, okay, the market is going to consolidate or the market is going to, you know, come back down. But if you can look on the daily time frame, this market just did bomb, 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 bomb. And a lot of you made a lot of money, right? I swear Kai made up to like 40K, 50K or something just based on this move, right? I was able to make $1 million on this move, right? $1 million, whatever it was. And I was able to flip an account from $100 to like 30K, right? Because I'm not scared to add a little bit more, right? When others are scared, right? This is what comes to the whole psychology thing, right? When others are scared, that's when I'm more excited because I'm like, I know how these people are thinking. These people are like, oh, let me get out of the money, right? Whereas it's like, okay, it's okay that you've made money, but then you're crying after because the market's pushed how many more pips after. It's because you didn't realize the journey, you didn't realize where you was at, right? So what I'm talking about in this instance here of the market pushing out, it does it consistently. But I want you guys to start understanding these patterns and how you can be able to win, right? How you can be able to win. These happen on big time frames, small time frames. You know, it is there, right? And it's the same way as when it's coming back down, right? The double bottoms, so on and so forth. I mean, the double tops, so on and so forth, right? It happened all the time, right? Even this, like, I got into a trade up here, a sell up here. Like, I remember, right? I was flying out, right? The market pushed up, and here it was like early in the morning, right? And I was like, you know what? This is not this isn't gonna push up high, right? Why did I understand that it wasn't gonna push up high, right? Because I had a double top here, right? And it's not even just about the double top. It's this whole move alone. This whole move alone on a bigger time frame, on a 4-hour time frame, it was like an evening star. I think it was like evening star or bearish engulfing. Where is it? That's a 4-hour time frame. Oh, I'm too far back. Now, now. I know you might think, oh, why is he talking about this? No, you need to understand the journey prior, right? This nice evening star is what allowed me to understand what the hell is actually going to happen the following week. And, you know, that was the initial move. And then this initial move allowed me to understand that, yo, that price has just broken so fast up without having no like journey for it to like push up crazy. Like we had like this ascending, right? But we never had any retest. He literally said one day he just said, okay, I'm out, and it's gone up there. So based on this journey, Fibonacci there, I was like, okay, cool. The price came up, created wicks, and like I said, he created this U shape, right? I already got in here because I already knew the way that moved last week was very much like super. It was just like boom, gone, right? So that allowed me to understand that this week alone, once the market gets up there, we can potentially get a nice trade. Now, I do understand I got in prematurely here, right? That's because I was packing. I was, you know, I had a long, busy day, but that's just the market. That's just how it is. That's just the work, the skill. Like, you know, you're going to take certain trades. And I wasn't really too deep thinking about it, right? I was like, okay, cool. We are at a level of resistance. That market's pushed up. It's a Fibonacci. It's come back there, right? And I was packing. I think it was like 1 a.m. But I locked into a trade up here. I saw a small time frame. It gave me bearish pressure. And then I was in the trade, and then literally, as the market pushed down like this, I think it was 3 a.m., 7 a.m. I was on a flight at like, I think it was like 6 or something. So I closed a few trades out, and then when I landed, the market was like down here, right, or down here somewhere. And that's because of that conviction. That's because of understanding the journey prior, having things in place, right? And if these things are happening on bigger time frames, expect the bigger moves to occur. Now, I knew that this market wasn't just going to go and push. Well, for me, I was like, yo, this market isn't just going to go and break these lows and go crazy below like how it did. I was like, okay, cool. I understand that the market will come back and retest this area. We might get like a retest here, and then we might come back down and do like a descending and then break. But no, I didn't even see all of this down here because I was on a flight. And that's the thing. The market just blew under there and then dropped out. So if you, for example, understood that the market's come to this area and then we stay underneath this level of resistance, right? You know that the market is going to blow back towards the bottom, right? The area of support, right? And if from that area of support, if it continues to break below, right, you know, sales come quicker. We've broken these lows, but now you're like, yo, it's time to go to the lowest point, right? Now, I don't need to go all the way. I don't need to go all the way. And I had this as well, breakout, right? So here is like you can get out your trade. So we'll have to leave at 21 for catch for the replay. No, that's totally fine. That's totally fine. I don't think we're gonna stay all the way to 21:30. Well, I know you're probably 1 hour ahead. That's totally fine. Catch up on the replay. Right. So going back to what I was saying, right? And I just want to say this before you go, Marina, right? We're going to talk a little bit about, I know I've spoken a lot about gold right now. This is just to make you guys start identifying things on these charts, right? In order to absolutely go crazy and make more money. Instead of making 300, you're actually making like 900, right? Because you've been able to be a little more patient and having a little bit of trust and, you know, and understanding what's actually occurring, right? I've got people asking me, like, yo, where's the support? Where's the support? Where's the support? I'm like, bro, look at your chart. Stop being lazy. Like everything, I'm showing everyone everything. And the only way that you're gonna get good is if you put in the work and watch this stuff, right? So, you know, I need to actually go back and draw this again. Sorry. I'm gonna click on that. Think it's like this. I'm gonna make it nicer, just a little bit more sweeter. because that's what the market is doing and reacting from there, right? And then we're going to blow this again, because what do we want to see if the market does break a level? We want to see these highs getting touched. Right now, it is going to be. I'm going to try and keep it a little bit more reserved, right? Keep it a little bit more reserved, like so. Right now, cool. This market here, right? We have to understand this. This is one thing I'm going to say, right? A lot of people, and even renews, oh, shall we forget the buys? Shall we forget the buys? Why are you forgetting the buys? What is your reason to forget the buys? Okay, what is your reason to forget the buys? Because for me, it looks like the buys are sweet, right? For me, it looks like the buys are very, very sweet. We've got a nice bottom there, nice reach there. We've got a cup and handle here, which we have to be a little bit more patient to see what's going on. If you go back to small time frame, yes, I know we can look left and see what's going on. But what do we see here? We've got inverse head, shoulder, shoulder, push there. We've got a nice shoulder here. We've got a right shoulder there. Like, what are you getting the vibes, right? Just because we've got like some movements that's happening down here, why should you forget the vibes, right? So it's about having conviction in your market, having conviction in the stuff that you are looking at, right? Because this is a right shoulder, left shoulder, head, right? And where are we right now? We're pretty much at the shoulder, right? We're pretty much at the shoulder, which is that area here, right? This blue zone there. So why are you scared to be in your? Now I understand it has done a little bit of a hands and whatever, but you know, it's just okay. Be a little more patient and see more move. The same thing I was talking about, that double bottom situation, right? This now, it hasn't occurred, but what if that does occur and breaks these levels? I know my numbers, right? I know my numbers, so I know, okay, we're gonna get this area, break and retest of this area, and then potentially start pushing up towards this highest point, towards the highest point there, right? So just because I took my trade, I'm like, oh, I'll take my trade from here to there, that I won't be looking at the extra numbers or the extra patterns that's occurring in that move. No, if I'm going for that, how many pips is that? Let's just say I'm going from 150 all the way to 2,000, right? 500 pips. You think I'm coming out with 500 pips? No, I'm coming up with at least 2,000 pips, because I'm adding a little bit more on my numbers. Okay. Now GU, very quickly, just before Marina has to, right? GU, we spoke about it yesterday. I spoke about how the psychological numbers was so sweet for us to understand, right? Yes, we are in a downtrend based on the market moving in that downtrend. But what was I saying? It's about important analyzing here, right? This was the most important thing, right? And this was continuation. So what I was saying was, we need to get a change of structure here. And just there, in order for us to start looking for, right? That did not occur. So for me, I'm like, yo, as soon as it breaks out of here, it's done the complete opposite to what I needed it to do. This is a reason to buy to the next resistance area, right? A lot of you guys are scared, and a lot of you guys are not making money because just because the market didn't do what you wanted to do, you don't make money. Please explain to me. Because when I'm analyzing a sell, and if the sell doesn't occur, I know the market moves in two ways. I'm taking the buy, right? I'm taking that buy, right? So it's like, that one. This happened at 2 a.m. That's 6 a.m. Sorry, 6 a.m. And yesterday I was saying to you, Marina, that you need to be watching your Euro pairs, right? GBP pairs, so whatever, English pairs, London pairs in London time. You know, waking up a little bit earlier just to see what's going on, 5 a.m., 6 a.m. You know what I mean? You could have easily got into a nice setup here. How would you have got into a nice setup there? Because you know, yes, I know I've got my level of resistance. I mean, mid zone, but it's pretty much an ascending triangle that's occurred here, right? And it's very sweet. It's sweet as, right? It's sweet as, right? Now I understand that you don't need to really get it too clean, right? It's about understanding how that market is moving, right? Because a lot of people want it too clean. Some people miss trades because they're like, oh, that needs to go all the way down to that box, like, and it's like, bro, relax, man. The market isn't, again, the market is hot, yeah. The market isn't going to go to your specific area each time, right? You understand what that is, right? So why are you not, taking a trade? We've got a break and retest. We've got push out. Boom. Before you know it, just because you woke up, just because you did the analysis the day before, boom, you got yourself how many pips? 70 pips. 50 pips, 40 pips. We're done for the day on a sweet ass move, right? Because you've got all the confirmations. You're above mid zone. You got that ascending. You got a break and retest. And then look, this happens at 12 o'clock, right? 12 o'clock, that happens. Let's go to 30 time frame. What do we have here, right? The market pushes up high. Just going back to what I was saying, to delete this very quickly. Right, we've got the highest point there, right? Because there's a lot of you guys just be like, okay, cool, yeah, but no, we know we've got an ascending. We know it's happened. Delete it. I don't care about that. I know it's happened. What am I doing on the next situation? Cool. I got this area here, right? There. Now, I know we've got the area on the side, but it's fine. I will just bang it here, right? Got a nice break and retest there, right? What happens here in a smaller time frame? Right, we've got this double bottom. It doesn't look like it is a double bottom. Now, if you put a mirror here, like I always say, with all the reasons for you to take that trade, right? Ascending above that area mid zone, right? You got bullish pressure in the time frame, right? I'm looking at this. If I want this to go down, it needs to go down here. Once it breaks outside of this area, once it pushes outside of this, I'm like, it's time to go. I know my numbers, right? I know my numbers. You might need to go to 5-minute time just for you to get a little bit more understanding of what's going on there, right? What are you gonna do, right? I'm doing everything in my arsenal to understand that I can get to a setup on a nice 5-minute time frame, right? We've got this funny inverse and the shoulder. There. We've got a breakout. We're outside of the major trend, and we're outside of this trend. Prices come back down very sweet to take these people out, right? And we're pushing up. Now, if you're scared to get into that trade, say no more. Get into the trade after the market breaks outside of this area, because you know that is where your market should have this, right? If it was going to do anything different, right? You had a wick, comes back down. Okay, cool. You're a bit more patient. This is 5 minutes. Okay, cool. We're here. Now we're here. Now we've got a cup and handle. Like, you know what I'm saying? I know my numbers, right? So you need to know your numbers too, right? And before you know, you've got a nice setup, right? Now, this, what I'm showing you, you also have your patterns, right? Your candlestick, that's a Marubozu there. That's a lot of wick side, more body towards the bottom. That's fine. You have a 3-minute time frame. What you have, you've got a morning star there, which is beautiful. What you go to, we go to a 30-minute time frame. What you have here, shooting star. Like, look at what it's telling you. So if you're not making money and you trade London session, right? You trade London pairs. If you're not making money, it's because you're lazy, because you don't want to make money, right? And I'm not just talking about you, Maria. I'm just talking in general. Okay. So this is something where you need to be watching these things, and the same with Euro USD as well, right? Euro USD. Is the same here, right? What do we know in terms of left, right? We know we've got a situation in here. We know the market's come to our area of support, right? Now, my only focus is nothing else, right? Nothing else but my resistance and my support. That is all that matters because we are above support and we are below resistance, right? Everything else needs to come from this situation that's happening here, right? We come here, what's going on from that 4-hour time frame? Now, I understand there's not really much that we can see, but then we start to see this change of structure after the market breaks outside of that trend there, right? Now, the market, you have to anticipate at times, right? It's not just about, oh yeah, this. No, you have to anticipate, right? Market breaks outside of that area there, right? Now, I'm not saying you need to get in very early into that setup, right? But you got here, you got that area there, you got this area here, which created something there, right? So you know that. Let's go back to small time frame and see what's actually happening down here. Price change structures very small, right? 1, 2, 3, Fibonacci, there to there. Price comes back down, gives you a morning star. It's okay. That's fine. You can get into a trade around here, stop loss below structure. That's totally fine. Stay patient. But what is the next situation that occurs here? We've got this area here, right? Now, I know it's not double bottom, but it's pretty much a double bottom. But it's a funny double bottom, right? It's a funny double bottom, right? But this allows me to understand the price got to come back down and it's breaking below that area. Same again. Now, this is more of a reason for you guys to actually get into a trade because look, you've got this head, shoulder, shoulder here, right? And then it breaks outside of that. Now, why is this more of a good reason to get into a trade? Because we're so far low, we're so far down, right? We are at the very bottom. So imagine people being scared to take a trade here. You've missed out on that move, right? You missed out on that move because you're scared to take a trade right at the bottom when the market's giving you everything that you need to see. You missed out on like 50 pips, 55 pips. Okay. Now, talking on a journey, it's like this goes to the 2-hour. We've got inverse head and shoulder there. Goes to the 4-hour. Inverse head and shoulder there. Where we've finally broken outside of that area. We're going to have a break and retest. Let the market do what it needs to do before we can get back in again. So you go back down to small time frame and see how this market is moving from these areas for you to continue to push towards this area here. Is that making sense, guys? Less of a push down each time it's hit resistance is getting weaker. 100%. 100%. Okay, everybody's understanding what I'm saying. Okay, perfect. Okay, cool. Let me go back to a 4-hour. What pairs do you guys trade, guys? Let me know in the comment section. What pairs do you guys trade? Right. I'm going to stop this. Oh, no. I'm going to stop this screen. I'm going to put it on me for a second. And then I'm going to share what we've got going on today. What pairs do you guys trade? Please tell me. What pair do you guys trade? Wait, what's going on? Okay. Someone said gold. Someone said gold. Gold. Currency trading gold, but we'll soon start with EU once I get some confidence from my back testing. Gold, GA, nice. Gold, GA, okay, nice, okay. Most of the time, gold, AUD, USD, CAD, Euro, USD, GBP, USD. Okay, cool. Okay, now, can I ask you guys, why do you trade gold? What is the reason you guys trade gold? What does gold do to you? Like, what makes you want to trade gold? Please tell me. What makes you want to trade gold? Sorry, I'm just opening up this PDF. What makes you want to trade gold? Volatility. So we've got volatility. That's the only reason why you want to trade gold, because of volatility. There's volatility in every market. Brian, who introduced me to trading gold and spend most of the time trading gold. Okay, cool. I understand that because I'm in a similar boat. I was in a similar boat. I get that. I understand that a lot. Okay, is that all right? Volatility. And now, guys, if I was to tell you that you don't need to trade gold to make money, would you continue to trade gold? Now, I understand because you become accustomed to the market that you're trading. Gold is very addictive, right? And I know you make a lot of money and stuff like that. That's fine, but you have to understand that gold is in the name. It's gold, right? It's gold. So you take the opportunities that come with it. So if you're when it gives you to, if you're set to really maximizing your wins, right? Gold follows technicals. Okay, all pairs follow technicals, bro. All pairs follow technicals. Gold is just moves very like, unless you're trading US 30, Nasdaq, and I've traded them before, it's not really that deep, right? Gold gives you a lot of pips, right? That's what people want. People want a lot of pips in a short period of time. That's yeah, it doesn't like me showing my face on camera and starts cracking. Okay, so what I was saying is, the reason why a lot of people like to trade gold is because of how many pips it can give you in a smaller period of time. Okay, it's not because and you fall into the category of it's kind of like you enjoy the pair because it can give you a lot of money. But I want you guys to start seeing it from a point of it doesn't really matter what pair of trading because I can money in any pair. Okay, you need to have a look and a great setup, a good trade on gold 1 week, and then the following week you might not be there. Okay, so you need to allow yourself to understand that, okay, I can do this, trade this pair, but I can also trade a pair that I am comfortable with making me money. Like, find a pair like Euro USD, GBP USD, so on and so forth, because that will allow you to actually make money consistently on a pair that isn't so volatile. It gives you time, right? And this is where a lot of beginners go wrong, right? A lot of beginners go wrong because they just wanting to trade. But remember, trading gold, you gotta take your wins, right? You gotta make sure that you are out here taking your wins, growing, and going again the next day, because you know the opportunity what gold can give you. Okay, and it's true. Trading other pairs help you understand gold a lot more because you start to understand the market structure, right? Because market structure on Euro USD and GBP USD really do allow you to see what's actually going on. You're like, oh, this is definitely a retest, right? Whereas gold, it will happen in one hour candle. You're like, oh, what the hell? Now you're thrown off. Okay, so I want you guys, yes, continue trading gold because there's so much opportunities there, but give yourself a chance as well by trading other pairs, right? It might not need to be 2, 3, 4, 5 other pairs. It might be one pair, right? Where you're like, okay, I see a really good opportunity here, right? And the lot sizes is obviously going to be a lot different. Gold, you have to have a very good position size, right? Whereas you still have to have a good position size on forex pairs, but you can get up a little bit more because it moves a little bit more slower. Okay, is everybody with me before I share this screen? Right, I'll share the screen. This is the last bit that we're going to do before we close for today. Just leave my screen, please. See my screen. Can you guys see my screen? Yes or no? Yes or no? Yes. Okay. Cool. Right. Right, so this is a quick psychology lesson, right? And I want you guys to understand this very well. Okay. Right. Your thoughts shape your decisions, what creates your results, right? You have to understand that, it's hard to have, positive thoughts if you keep losing. If you're out here just taking trades and you're not getting results and so on and so forth, you have to keep a positive mind, right? That's how you're going to get out of that state, and your thoughts then become the thing you actually attract, right? So you need to start believing yourself, believing in that you can get to the next level and grow and so on and so forth. Okay. Most traders focus only on strategy, not the state of mind, right? I've got so many people on VIP, right, that are and you guys will be able to see from the comments and the things that they say that they just care about the strategy. They just care about taking a trade. They just care about making some money, but they're not caring about their state of mind, right? If you keep blowing an account and blowing an account, blowing an account, what's that going to do to your frame of mind? Right, you're going to think you're not good enough. You're going to be thinking, oh, what is going on? I'm not good in this game, so on and so forth. Whereas you just think, give yourself, that that break for yourself, right? A lot of people out here just, stressing out, and then they go on social media and then they see good things happening over there. Okay. Whereas you need to see first in your mind before it becomes real. Your emotional baseline determines your consistency, right? Goal is to break the loop of impulse, fear, and self-sabotage, right? Self-sabotage is something that we all do, right? Now, it can be in action form or it can be in mindset form, okay? Now, I understand the people that don't have money, right? It will come in mindset thoughts, right? It will come in thoughts of your mind, right? I'm not good enough. I'm bad. I'm not this. I'm not that. I'm not this. I'm not that. Break outside of that barrier, right? Do things that's going to keep you happy. Now, I'm not saying go and binge and watch certain things, but I've had I don't do it anymore because I'm very, very much, I do have money and I do get to go and eat out if I want to or travel, so on and so forth. So if if I'm in a losing streak or something's not going well for me, right, I will not self-sabotage. But what I'll do is I'll take time out. I might, binge watch a movie or something, right? A lot of the times I like to go and watch The Wolf of Wall Street. It's quite funny, and it's all about trading and whatever. Or I'll just rewatch my videos that I've posted on YouTube or something like that, like just to get back in a good mood, right? So another way of self-sabotaging is that if you do have money, right, and you do go through a losing streak, and this is normal because a lot of people, are traders and they make money, but they might go through a losing streak. And another way of self-sabotaging is going and spending a lot of money doing dumb stuff. Okay. So you need to be really, really smart in, coming out the loop of self-sabotage, fear, and that impulse of just taking random stuff, random trades. Take time out, right? Enjoy, it doesn't have to be trading 24/7, trading 24/7. I used to think it was like that, but it changed so much into my perspective and my mindset when I was like, okay, cool. There's obviously something that's not working right now, right? I don't know what it is, but I'll need to figure it out. But let me just take a minute off. Let me just, decide to look at something else, watch something, right? And that allows you to recalibrate your mind and get back to that state of getting back on the charts and putting in the work. Okay. Why most traders never grow? No emotional discipline or self-control, chasing setups instead of waiting, trading what they want, not what the chart says, no mistakes so that they repeat them, entering trades out of boredom, fear of revenge. Now, remember, all of these things, right, is why people are not growing. So to grow, you need to cut out all these things, right? No emotional discipline or self-control. A lot of people don't even have self-control in their life, so let alone have self-control in the market. And you adding money into the equation. And if you don't have a lot of it and you keep investing into your account, damn, you're gonna have a very downward slope. All right. Chasing setups instead of waiting. This comes down to also chasing money, right? You're chasing money because you're like, oh, I need to make right. If you have that mindset of like, I am money, right? You're gonna be attracting money. You're gonna be patient, right? Even if you've got $100 in your account, you're gonna be patient because you're like, yo, I've got opportunity to make money. So why am I gonna rush into this market or rush into these setups that don't make no sense, right? Because I'm just gonna lose the money that I have, right? Trading what people that trade what they want and not what the chart says, right? It's the same thing as like that's what's going to keep you sane, right? It's going to keep you sane. Why? Because you are trading exactly what the chart says, right? And then it comes down to you actually risking well. Okay. So for me, I'm never mad if I take a loss, but I was looking from what the charts was telling me, right? The only time you get mad is when you enter and you had no reasons to enter, or the market's telling you to enter, right? Not review mistakes so they repeat them. A lot of people don't review their mistakes. It's okay. We're human beings. We're gonna make mistakes, right? But the good thing about trading is that it allows you to make mistakes and still grow. right? Because you're watching your risk, you're watching how you move, right? Entering trades out of boredom, fear, or revenge. A lot of people are out here just bored. Like, this is why it's so important to have a hobby when you are trading, right? Have a hobby, something that you do, right? Journaling, growing, watching, podcasts on YouTube that's going to allow you to grow your mindset. I don't really watch a lot of TV, so some people might watch a series, but don't just dwell on the series, right? Like, what the reason why you watch a series or why you're watching that movie, or enjoy your life, right? Don't let trading just take your life away, and you will understand that once you start enjoying your life, you're going to start growing into trading, and it's going to start showing in your results. Okay, right. So we've already spoke about a lot of things on here, but this is like a mind reset, right? You can screenshot this, you can rewatch it over. You need to build yourself up and have a plan, right, on how you're going to grow your mindset, right? But remember what I was saying to you a couple of sessions prior. You need to look at yourself in the mirror, and you need to start writing things down and having a journal where you're talking about yourself and you're looking at yourself and you look at your journal. Not grow if you don't touch on the points that's not making you grow. Okay. Week 1, awareness of emotional triggers. So you know what triggers you. If you take a loss, what is going on? Like, is that triggering? What made you be triggered? Is it the fact that you risk too much? Is it the fact that your ex-girlfriend called you a bitch or something? Like, what triggers you? Okay. And you need to write that down so that you know, and you're reading back through, and okay, I'm not going to be doing that. If something, to make sure that I am going back and getting my thoughts back, getting my mindset back, that I'm not making rash decisions on these markets. Building discipline through repetition. That's week 2. So you start to do things that you are seeing results from. Whether you're going to go to the gym, whether you're going to go for a walk, whether you're going to be drawing, whether journaling, whether it's watching some trading content on YouTube or podcasts, so on and so forth. Right. Week 3, controlled exposure to uncertainty. Right. So you're controlling your decision making. Right. So let's just say you are in the charts, right, and you're like, yo, you know what? I don't really know what's going to occur here. Right. I don't understand it. It's okay to not understand everything on the charts. Okay. The game here is for us to understand what's on the charts for us to take the trade. So if you don't understand what's on the charts or what's going on, then you're uncertain. So why are you taking a decision on an uncertain position? That don't make no sense. Okay. Week 4, confidence through documented wins and reviews. So you're going back and reading everything. You're looking at the wins that you've had, the losses that you've had, and you're reviewing them in order for you to grow the next level. Okay. Identifying your trigger profile, right? Fear-driven traders, scared to pull the trigger. Impulse trader, enters too early and too often. Outcome trader, obsessed with win or loss, not the process, right? So a lot of these things is what actually is happening in people's mindsets, right? They, for example, here, obsessed with wins or loss, not the process. They're like, oh, damn, I lost. Ah, damn, oh, I won. Let's go. And they're like not looking at the process, right? They're not looking at like, okay, going back and be like, okay, I won. Why did I win? Where went right? Okay. And when I lose, where went wrong? How can I grow from it? Right? They're just looking at like, oh my God, I lost. Oh, I need to put another, and I need to redeposit. I need to do this. When the winner's like, okay, cool, what can I buy? What can I go and get? Right? You're not looking at the actual process. Emotional trader, trade based on current mood. Right? This is the worst one, right? Because your moods will be swinging left, right, and center, right? Some days, I've had some days I've woken up just mad. I don't know why I'm mad, but I just woken up mad, right? Doesn't mean I'm just gonna go in the markets and then just trade. No, right? You can't trade based on your mood. You gotta trade based on what the market is showing you. Avoidance trader knows what to do but avoids taking action. This is also bad because you're not gonna, if you don't pull the trigger, you're not gonna make money. Like I always say, scared money makes no money, right? So you need to identify who you are as a person, how you move on these charts, and then that's how you're going to be able to grow from it, right? Is everybody still with me here? Is everybody not here with me? Okay, perfect. How do you fix each trade? If you're fear driven, reduce the lot size, increase exposure reps, right? So that allows you to, yes, you are still going to make money, right? And if you do lose, you're going to lose a lot less, right? And it's going to give you a lot more time in the market in order for you to rebuild. And this is what I was saying in terms of trading forex pairs too, right? Because it will actually calm you down, right? You will be so much calmer because the market doesn't just move slow, by the way. It does give you time because it moves a lot slower. But when you are in the right correct moves, you'll see, boom, it's just gone, right? But it's going in a very consistent, nice way where you're like, oh, that money's growing nice, you know. It's not going $100, $0, $150, $29. No, you're going like, you know, you'll go to like $100. Maybe you'll retest. You go like not minus, but you'll go like $80, maybe $50, $60. Then it'll go to like 150. Then you might go down to 120, 130. Then you'll go to 200 again. Then you go down to 190. Then you'll go to like 250. Like you've got really, really good time on that trade to make good decisions and to be patient. Okay. Impulse. Create a mandatory 2-minute pause before entry. So if you're an impulse trader, just breathe. Take time. Right? You're not at war here, you know? Like you not have to be busting shots like right? You're not a machine gun. Take 2 minutes before you enter. Because sometimes you may even see the market gives you even a better entry. And that 1 minute candle, that 2 minute candle might even give you more time to be like, oh, actually, it's not actually ready. You know what I'm saying? If you're an outcome trader, shift focus to execution, not results, right? Execution, not results, right? Because these people are just out here looking for results. We've got a lot of people in VIP, right? Sorry, I'm just taking a drink. We've got a lot of people in VIP, even in free group, where they just want results, right? Results, rather than execution, because execution is what going to allow you to actually make money in this game, right? The results are just the results from the outcome, right? So you rather be focused on execution than results. Emotional trader, no trading on time days, right? This is super important, right? You're making sure that you are trading on good days, right? If you're feeling bad one day or feeling stressed out, feeling hopeless and whatever, then, you know, build your mindset back up so that you can get at that state, at that peak, so that you can make good decisions on the charts. Okay. The power of delay reaction. Successful traders create space between thought and action, right? If you're like looking to take a trade and you're very, very uncertain about it, then just don't take that trade, right? You're uncertain. So you're like, okay, cool. Because I'm uncertain, let me just take a pause. Let me just be a little bit more patient, right? Your edge is in the pause, not the entry, right? Your edge is in the pause, not the entry. Please understand that statement. We're not out here and be like, oh yeah, boom, entry, boom. No, it's in the pause, because in the pause is what is going to allow you to think. It's going to allow you to make that right decision. Okay? A calm decision always beats a fast one, right? I'll give you an example. And probably the best example to give is kind of like, you know, when you was in school, right? You was in school. I used to be a naughty one in school. I didn't care, right? I used to make impulse decisions all the time in school, right? And it never always came to a good, you know, result, right? So let's just say, for example, not even an example, like this is the situation that's happened before, right? A teacher's, you know, telling me off, oh, you're late, why are you always like this? You know what I mean? And he was right. I'm late. I'm coming in the session in the lesson late. I don't really care. I'm not really bothered about geography, right? Or French, and that teaching French, you know, French ain't even good. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm coming in like I don't give a fuck. Like, you know what I'm saying? And the teacher's telling me like, yo, you need to put in the work, da, 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 da. And the quick reaction, I'm like, F off, right? Like, I'm not bothered. Like, I'll just say it out. And boom, detention, isolation, all of that. Whereas if I just took a moment to just be like, you know what, she's right, go, whatever, keep my mouth shut, I'll be in class, no detention, no isolation, right? So you can look at your life and your journey and see where you've made reactions, right, fast, and you didn't have like a calm decision to beforehand, right? A lot of you guys may have relationships, right? And you know, I'll be real. A relationship, being in a relationship, and you have an argument, right? We know as men we can never win an argument. So what's the point in me making a rash decision, arguing with a lady when I know I'm not going to win the argument, right? Even though you're right, right? A woman will think they're right in their own mind, right? And that's just who we are as human beings. So why would I just then now be rash? I'll just be like, okay, calm. Just have a calm situation about the situation, and calm thinking, and just be like, okay, cool. And then that will lead to a better result than arguing and now this and now that. Okay. You train discipline by delaying impulses daily, right? This also comes in life, right? It's not just trading. That's why I say you have to link life and trading together. Okay. Now think about this, guys. When you're in traffic, I know a lot of guys drive, right? When you're in traffic, right, and you come towards a roundabout, and let's just say there's a car coming round, you have a split decision to go or stop, right? A lot of the times, right? I'll be real. I'll be coming to the roundabout, and I'm already in gear 2, right? Or I'm already like, you know, I'm ready to just go. I'm coming towards the roundabout. I'm like my mindset is like, okay, cool. There's not a car coming. I'm gonna be in the gear 2 so that I can just go straight away. I don't need to stop. Okay, but sometimes you come to that, you're in gear 2 and you come towards that roundabout, and then boom, there's a car coming, right? And you decide, am I gonna make it or not? You have a split decision to make, right? A lot of the times I just stop, right? There's no point, even if I'm gonna make it, there's no point me causing that issue because I'm gonna crash or someone's gonna crash into me, right? And there's also a time where you are behind the car, right, that's going into the roundabout, but they always slow down, they always stop, even though there's no traffic, even though it's late at night, they always stop. You're like, flip me, why do you have to go all the way to gear 1, right? But at the end of the day, it's like, well, they're driving, they're in front of you, they're making the right decision, they're being disciplined about the decision because they don't know what's around the corner, right? So they rather be sure than sorry. Okay, so these are impulses that we do on a casual daily basis, and you guys might have other examples that you do in your own life. This is super important to understand, right? If you start delaying your impulse decisions daily, it's also going to show in these charts. Okay, building self-control fast. Set trading windows and stick to them. Okay, now you have to understand when you set your trading windows and you stick to them, That's going to allow you to make more money, right? And it's going to allow you to not trade when it's not your trading time or trading window. Now, it's also important to understand that the pair that you're trading, are you trading London session? Are you trading Asian session? Are you trading New York session? So on and so forth. Now, gold is very much is any session. A lot of the times, of course, it moves in Asian session, but it also moves in New York. London session, sometimes it does move just before London, right? A lot of the times London is consolidating, but this is one thing that you have to understand, where with gold, you have so many options that you need to stick to the one that is making sense for you, right? This is why trading gold is so difficult for so many people, because it's giving you all these options and you don't know which one to pick, right? Asian session, gold does move. Sometimes it probably just chills. What we can see in the last couple of months, many months, and even when I started trading gold, right? Gold has been moving Asian session crazy. Now, my journey and my trading windows really and truly was back in the days was trading Asian session and New York session. That was it. I'll take a setup in Asian session, win. I'll take a setup in London session. I mean, in New York session, win, and be done. Right. So you need to come down to a conclusion of what it is that you're going to be doing. Right. You will see a lot of the times I don't send a signal London session, because many times London session, the market is just consolidating, or we'll have a massive push up and then 8 o'clock hits and there's a massive push down, or you will have massive push up, 8 o'clock hits, pushes up. And then throughout that London session towards the 4-hour candle at 10 o'clock, the market is literally just, engulfing the candle that just blew up or blew down. Journal every entry and emotion, right? Now, you guys, if you're not in VIP, I'm sure everyone's in VIP. You got the trading journal that you can actually use for free in the VIP, right? Under tools. So you can write stuff in there, you can connect your trading, your trading account, so on and so forth, and use that, right? You can write things and just keep an idea of what's going on, and you can track down from a weekly basis how things are moving. You can also do this on your book, right? I say book, but your writing book, your journal book that you've got. Okay. So only take setups that match plan criteria, right? The one thing that I want you guys to understand is, to become a trader with finesse and class, you're going to have to be self-critical about the trades that you are taking. And it's the same as being self-critical about the person who you are. As I was mentioning the other day, why would I hang around with people that are not adding to my life? They're not growing. They're not doing all these other things, right? It's just going to bring me down, right? So it's the same thing as like you taking these setups on these charts. You need to have good confluences there in order for you to match the person who you are. So if you're on these charts and just taking random ass trades, that's just showing you that you are who you are, right? Because you won't take these setups if it doesn't match who you are or who you want to be, and when you look at yourself in the mirror. I hope that is making sense. Review every mistake to remove it permanently. This is important. Same again, to build your self-control, to be able to grow from it, right? Use screenshots before and after trades. This is down to you whether you want to do that or not, right? A lot of the times you've got it on TradingView, right? But you should, this will help out, if you set up a trade, right? If you're looking to get into a trade, now remember, you should already know that you're going to get into a trade before you get into that trade, right? So you'll screenshot it just like how I do in Trading Ideas, right, on VIP. You screenshot it before, and then you see it after and see how it's moved. Okay. Losing streak protocol. Stop trading instantly. Identify why losing started. Study the last 20 trades. Reset emotional baseline. Restart with the lowest possible size. Okay. This will allow you to get back onto step one. Okay. it's okay to have a losing streak, but it's more important and most important to identify what's going on so you can change it as soon as possible. There's no point us taking losses and losses and losses and keep withdrawing. I mean, keep depositing, not thinking, not understanding what the hell's going on, you know, because sometimes things happen subconsciously in our mind, right? And then it shows later on. Okay. So you'll see a lot of people walk around really pissed off, right? Or something's been building and building and building, and before you know it, they just burst, right? You know, you could, this happens a lot, road rage, right? Why are these road rages happening? That person, something pissed him off at the start of the day, maybe his girlfriend or his wife or his kids or something, and then before you know it, he's driving and there's someone that's like up his ass, or someone's beeping him, so on and so forth. He goes to work, his boss tells him he's a bag of bull and all of this stuff, and he's angry with himself. He hasn't been on holiday for like 2 years, right? All of that is building. He gets back in his car, on his way back home. You've got a whole heap of traffic, right? Work traffic, boom. Then someone cuts him off, and now he's like, nah, he's getting it, right? He's literally, it's been building, right? So the same thing is going to happen with your trading account, right? If you keep doing the same thing over and over again and keep getting the same results, losing, you need to stop, think, and go again, right? If you don't, you're going to burst, right? And that burst, I don't know what that's going to be, right? Cool. The rule of emotional zero. Never trade when excited, angry, tired, or stressed. We already know this, and we should know this, right? I mean, I'll give you an example. I've traded on every single one of these emotions, okay? I've traded when I was angry. I've traded when I was tired. I've traded when I was stressed. I'll tell you, I've traded when I was tired, got into a trade, winning the trade, fell asleep, this is the maddest sleep I've ever had. I'm thinking, what? I didn't even expect to sleep like that. Boom, woke up, blown account, right? don't trade when you're tired. Trade when you're angry, slapping hella lot sizes, boom. I had a big spike, blown account, right? I've traded when I was stressed, lost 300k. Okay, I was in Dubai. I was stressed out. Didn't see my daughter for a long time. Daughter's mom was stressing me out, telling me I can't see my daughter. So stressed, one, lost 300k. Okay, so don't trade when these are your emotions, right? And even when you are super happy, right? Even when you're super happy, right? Allow yourself to feel that emotion. It's okay to feel the emotion, right? That you're happy, you're making the money, you in good trades, right? But get yourself back to a certain level, a neutral level, so that you can go again. Now, I'm not saying it's wrong. If you take a trade today, boom, you win, you're happy, and then you get to a neutral level. The next day, boom, you win again, you're happy. It's about getting yourself back to that neutral level, okay? And it's the same way if you're angry or you lose a trade, whatever, you must get back to that level, okay? 100% need to get back to that level, because if you don't, what's going to happen? It's going to lead to a downward spiral of losses, angry, you bursting. You probably you probably get angry at your wife, your daughter, because you are angry from all these decisions that you're making, and it's coming to a downward spiral. Okay, your job is to remain neutral at all times. Emotional neutrality equals consistency. Right? Because you are neutral, you're going to be able to make the right decisions. You're not angry, you're not sad, you're not this, you're not that, you're just neutral. Okay? Process over feelings always wins long term. Right? It's like this, right? When we talk about process over feelings always wins long term, it's like this. Imagine I'm talking to 3 girls, okay? And one of them is let's say one of them is a 10, one of them is a 8, and one of them is a high 6, right? Now, the one that's a high 6 is very good looking, does everything that you know I asked for. She's messaging me all the time. She's asking me how I am and all this. But I'm not really like, I'm like, she's giving me too easy. Like, she just, you know what I mean? And then you got one that's at 8, where she takes long to reply. She's, you know, she's just there. You know, she does like you, but you know, she got a few people on the roster. Then you got the 10, who is an IG baddie, right? Bare man on her roster. She does like you. She thinks you're cute and all of that. But you're the one that's always making the effort, right? Now, which one are you choosing, right? Which one are you choosing, right? Are you going to choose the 10? No, you can't choose the 10, right? Because you're just going off your feelings of like, that 10 is, you know, when she's on my arm, everyone's going to be looking, all of this, you know, she's a baddie. No, you're going off feelings. Whereas you should go with a process. The 6 is a better fit, right? The 6 is a better fit because she's going to be cooking for you. She's going to make sure she rubs your back. She's going to make sure that, you know, she looks after the kids. She's going to make sure that, you know, when you take a loss, she's like, babe, it's okay, you know, it's part of the process, right? But some people are choosing 10, and now they've spent 2K here, and they're taking losses, and the girls are, you know, we need to go on holiday next week. So you're like, babe, we just literally, I just got you a 4K bag, right? And now you've got a 4K bag, and you're angry. Now she wants holiday next month, right? And you've just took 4 losses. You're in a losing streak. You're gonna burst, and you probably will end up headbutting her or something. and now you got more to worry about than just taking the losses. Okay, the mental state is so important, right? So, you know, I hope you can take this analogy and put it into life and put it into trading. Okay. The confidence formula. Okay. Oh gosh, no, that's funny. Right, confidence comes from knowing your data. Confidence comes from following your rules. Confidence comes from execution, not wins, and confidence comes from removing mistakes. As you can see, guys, we are talking about, you know, improving ourselves, knowing who we are, making sure that we've got data, right, that we can go back and read from and grow from, right? These will allow us to remove the mistakes, right? So that we become a better person, and we become better traders. Okay, I hope this is all making sense. We're very close to the end. How to grow in 30 days. Trade only what you fully understand. This is what I was saying. Like, listen, if you don't understand something, why are you then going and acting like you understand it, right? If all of a sudden you get put into a politician office, right? And now they're saying to you, okay, what's the GDP of this, of that? What, you know, what do the country need to do in order to grow in this? You're not gonna know what the hell's going on, right? You're gonna probably be like, yo, get me the hell out of this room, right? Or fitness. If you're not a fitness guy, or you know, you haven't, you know, within yourself, you've not done fitness, or you don't go to the gym, you don't eat the right foods, how can you then go and tell other people about it? You can't. It's like a fat person telling you, yo, eat healthy, lose weight. It's like, bro, look at you. You know what I'm saying? So you need to fully understand what it is that you are, okay? In order for you to grow, in order for you to look for ways to get into the next level, right? Review every session without fail, right? When I say review every session without fail, it's like you're reviewing your trades, making sure that, okay, that trade made sense. I know why I lost that trade. Okay, cool. And over the long period of time, you're going to see the data and what the data is telling you. And that's how you can grow from it. Track your emotional patterns daily. This is so important, right? There's days you're going to wake up happy. There's days you're going to be probably upset. There's going to be days where, you know, things are making sense. You know, track these things. Now, as much as you're tracking them, right? Because it's not just about tracking them and then, you know, like you wake up, oh, I'm pissed off, I'm angry, and then that's it. You're angry for the rest of the day. No. you track your emotions, and then what are you doing to better your emotions? Okay, that's the most important part. What is it that you're doing to get better, right? So some people may be going to the gym, having a little workout, having a run, doing 50 press-ups. I don't know what it is, but you have to figure out what it is that's going to get you feeling much better, right? Stay consistent with your routine. This is so important. Everybody's routine is very different. My routine is going to look totally different to yours. And even if you try my routine, you might burn out because I'm just used to my routine, right? So don't follow anyone else's routine. Figure out what works for you, right? Never chase, never force, never rush. Okay? Don't chase the market. It's the same as I always say, when you chase something, it runs away. When you chase a girl, right? And I'm a guy, and I know we're all guys here, and we've got one woman, which is Marina, and she's just left. But as a man, right, you don't chase a girl, right? If you guys remember back in school, or even growing up, you'll see the people that chase girls, they never get the good girls, right? The good girls are chasing the guys, right? So why would you chase? And when you chase, they run away, right? When you chase money, it runs away. When you chase girls, it runs away. When you chase something, it runs away, right? You need to attract it, right? Never force a situation, right? If you force something, let's just say for example, as we are in the talks of girls, like if you force it on a girl, listen, rape, charge, you never force it, you never rush, right? You just be easy, right? It's the same as this market, right? If you're out here chasing, forcing it, rushing it, that market is gonna take your money happily and laugh at you. Okay, so we need to stay very, very emotional, being stable with our emotions, right? And I know it can go up or down, but we regulate it. Okay, cool. That is the end of that. So I'm gonna get back onto my face. Let's see if it works. Okay. Okay, guys. So that is the end of the session. I hope that you was able to learn a lot from it. I know I talk a lot about psychology, right? Because it's very, very important, very, very real. It's so important into our for us to become better traders. And a lot of people don't actually look at that; they just see the charts and that's it. Whereas the reason why they're not into this is because of the mindset and what's going on in their lives, and they're not even actually deep in it. They just think, oh, the market's against me. No, you're against yourself. Okay. So do we have any questions? Let me just read what you guys are saying. Psychology, everything. Yes, sir. Very important. Class. Amazing. Don't chase. Market is women. We are men. 100%. 100%. The one that tends to have feelings are meant to stay. Oh, okay. About the eventually have to settle for the 6. Yeah, man. You can turn a 6 to an 8, right? You can add 2 bars to that, right? Okay. Okay. Cool. Right. So, I can correlate why everyone is saying wonderful content, because I can say Anderson just summarized our training journey in the last 30 minutes, and we all related to that very well. Be mistakes, but more sense of losing training content. Thank you, bro. I appreciate it. I'm glad that you are learning, and I'm glad that you're putting it into perspective. And you just have to become a better person in your life for who you are, whatever you want to achieve, and you'll see the rest will just fall into your lap, right? And that comes with trading. And the thing is, the way I teach and the way that I kind of explain things is from my journey, right? It's from what I've been through and what I've been able to conquer and survive. So I know from that, and it wasn't always just trading. You know, I've done businesses. You know, I've dealt with people and so on and so forth. And I realized like the most important thing is like is working on yourself, and you know, even experiences with like women and stuff. Like I've back in the days, like yes, I've always been able to get women, but it was more like I was doing a lot of the work too. Whereas now I don't even do much work, right? I don't even do much work, and they just come to me because of who I am as a person. Your energy really do speak out, right? I'm not forcing it, right? Like we were just saying, never force, never chase, right? Never rush, right? And you know, it's crazy because what do they say? You want no, they say this one thing, right? When you walk into a room, your aura speaks, right? And energy is something that we can't actually see, right? But the energy is built on the work that you are doing, right? So I want you guys to just remember that, like when you walk into a room and people are looking at you, it's because you have a certain aura, you certain aura farming. No, you have a certain aura about yourself, a certain energy about yourself. Now, you don't care about other people because you're in your own lane, okay? But you can't deny that people don't look at you, right? So it's kind of that. Once you start being and looking yourself in the mirror and improving day to day in your own life, then you can aura farm, like like Zabang is saying. Okay. But yeah, cool. Does anybody have any questions? Does anybody have any questions for me? If you have any questions, feel free to come up about the session, about anything before we end today. These sessions are really going to the next level because, you know, I can't stop teaching halfway. You know, I need to make sure that you guys are really understanding the stuff that I am saying, okay? So if that is everything for today, then you know we will end the session here, and yeah, we'll go again soon. Okay, but yeah, guys, peace out. I'm gonna stop the screen recording right now. I just want to say something before I go. Let me stop the screen sharing.